So basically, I'm starting my videos slash autobiography. I was born and raised in Riverside, California. Well, not really Riverside, the city, more like Riverside County, Glen Avon, Mariloma. Grew up on a goat farm with three crazy brothers. We used to always fight physically, verbally. Um, Mom and dad stayed married for a long, long time. I'm the youngest. My brothers are a lot older than me. So must have been some type of accident, mom and dad. One day I was in my dad's car. My dad used to put goats in the back of the car and with me in the back and just drive them around. This was a regular, just a 64 Mustang, and the stupid goat bit the tip of my finger off. There was blood everywhere. And my dad's driving, kind of got into a little bit of panic, but stayed calm, if that made any sense, and handed me a roll of paper towel. So I wrapped my finger and just went home, never went to the doctors or anything. Those are one of my childhood memories growing up. In our room back where me and my brothers, my parents built us a separate spot behind the garage, and my older brothers lived there. I still lived in the house. But one day, David and Rob got into a physical fight, and Davey put Rob's head through the wall. I don't know, they always say it was the other one who did it, but I think Davey put Rob's head through the wall because he was the one with the violent temper. And still to this day, I'm sure when you go for 20 years after that occurrence, you can see the patch job that my dad just put a piece of white cardboard over it and stapled it so you couldn't see the hole. Pretty funny incident. My brother Rob liked to collect tarantulas, and he developed an allergy to them, and one day his face swelled to the size of a large balloon, and his face dropped where you can see his eyeball sockets on his cheeks, and you couldn't see his eyeballs inside his eyeball holes. So he went to the hospital because of that. Lots of other crazy stories with my brothers. When Mary Poppins, the movie, came out, one of my brothers got on a roof and had an umbrella and jumped off and broke his arm. Dumbass thought that, he was able to fly like he could in the movie. My brother Philip heard my mom talking to my dad saying that there was a grasshopper outside, but my mom was referring to a drink, and my brother Phil went and got the grasshopper and ate it and said, "Mom, that's not good. That doesn't taste good." So those are just some funny stories growing up. This is a test video, again, basically. Eventually I'll be getting more into comedy acts and telling jokes. This is just a test, saying a little bit about myself. Early childhood documentary, part one. My mom was pretty much a housewife growing up, but she had side jobs, cleaning houses, being a waitress. My dad, for 35 years, was what you call a grunt. He was in the army as well for a few years. He was a ditch digger for electricians union and dirt hauler. He did physical labor, basically what they call a grunt, groundman, and slash business owner. He owned all the goats. He would sell them to the people around the area for basically goat enchiladas. The Mexicans love to eat the baby goats for their young meat. I guess they preferred that over the older goats. He owned a chain of baseball card shops, and the baseball strike happened and pretty much went out of business from there. But prior to the strike, it was a lucrative, good business for him and me. He did it for me. He's seen that I like to collect baseball cards and pretty much made me the other owner. I grew up playing baseball. That was my favorite sport, catcher and pitcher, and fielders at times. Played in high school, played 11 years in Little League. Can zoom tight. So it was a pretty good childhood. I mean, no kid's childhood is perfect. It had a lot of rough spots, a lot of good spots. Kind of hard to explain. So yeah, that's part one. Part two, basically, growing up as a teen was pretty rough. I got into a lot of trouble, a lot of fights at school. There wasn't a year in school that I didn't get into a fist fight in any grade, even preschool and kindergarten was always in some type of fist fight. Being the tallest kid in the school is very hard because I think you get a lot of the little Napoleons coming up to you and challenging you to fights. And that's what the main issue was, because most of the time I didn't even start the fight. It just came to me. I was pretty much friendly guy, friendly kid, always told by my mom to respect others and not to start fights.
Then what happened?
Shut up, you're not in this video. So, yeah, we got hecklers like yesterday's video. And junior high was really rough. I really didn't like life. I'd say age 15 was my worst year. I didn't really like that year at all. I didn't know what was going on with my hormones, or fighting with my brother, who was closest to my age, a lot because he still lived at home when I was 15. I think he was about 22 or 23, but we'd still get into fights. One day, he threw a rock the size of a softball. It would have killed me. It was like 2 inches that he threw at me. So he ran. I turned, as soon as that happened, I became enraged, and I went and grabbed the baseball bat and chased him. And I came in the front door, and he was in the living room hiding behind my mom. And then my mom just started bawling, crying. And thankfully my mom was there, because that's why I put the baseball bat down, because she was bawling her head off and crying. And so I put the bat down. I'm glad my mom was there, because I would have hit him over the head for sure. Um, yeah, that's basically part one of the video of growing up in Glen Avon, California, on a goat farm.